its meetings with 2 communities at its office in Asaba. Henry Onogwa reports.
Chief Uzo said the meeting with the Awere community, Abaroto, Ughelli North local government area, was connected with the petition from Ogoba family over land encroachment by extended family members. He noted that the state government was worried over the inability of the parties to manage the disagreement and appealed to them to promote unity in the community.
The 5 days have done the sharing, and that sharing stand, that's what we told them. They should go home and manage whichever one that is for each gate instead of farming trouble.
Chief Uzo also met with Jalua community in Warri South local government area over a petition on alleged invasion of the community by some hoodlums. He assured the people that government would carry out a thorough investigation into the attack and advise those that fled the community to return and carry out their normal activities.
Those who that have chased away from the community, but they have no food, the government to come and give them food. We told them that it's a very long process because the other company that is also operating there, we also give them some assistance. And meanwhile, the other company is supposed to have security. People should live within the comfort of the environment.
The community thanked the state government for efforts at resolving the disagreements. Henry Onogwa reporting.
The State House of Assembly has lifted its suspension on 2 members, Honorable Chukwudi Dafe, Okwani constituency, and Honorable Boroprayo, Vomadi constituency. The development followed the expiration of the 14 legislative days suspension slammed on the lawmakers by the House over alleged gross misconduct. Favor Okafor reports.
The Speaker of the Right Honourable Emma Motinigbo announced the lifting of the suspension at plenary. He said following Honourables Dafe and Prayo's alleged gross misconduct, an investigative committee was set up to look into the allegations, adding that though the committee was yet to submit its report, the legislators were asked to resume their duties following the expiration of the 14 legislative days suspension.
By your confidence, you all repose in me as a Speaker of the Delta State House Assembly, and for the fact that the 14 legislative days that they were suspended as a lapse, there is need for us to recall Honorable Chukwudi Dafe, the member representing Okwani State Constituency, and Honorable Kenneth Boroprayo, the member representing Vomadi State Constituency, to resume their duties as members of the Delta State House Assembly going forward from today.
The House later gave leave to the Majority Leader, Honorable Emeka Nwobi, to bring in a bill for a law to provide for the establishment of the Delta State Food Security Agency. The Majority Leader who moved the motion for the bill to be read the first time was seconded by the member representing Oshimili South, Honorable Bridget Anyafulu. The second reading of the bill was then deferred to January 28, 2025. The House also granted leave to the Deputy Speaker, the Right Honorable Arthur Akporo, to bring in a bill for a law to repeal the Delta State Waste Management Board Law of 2008 and enact the establishment of the Delta State Waste Management Board and to maintain a system of effective waste collection, management and disposal in the state. He was seconded by the member representing Ughelli North 1, Honorable Matthew Omonade. The motion for the bill's first reading was unanimously supported through voice vote put through by the Speaker. The second reading of the bill was also deferred to January 28, 2025. The House Committee on Public Petitions, led by its chairman and member representing Ughelli North 1, Honorable Matthew Omonade, submitted its report on the alleged trespass on a parcel of land in Achale Ibuzo, belonging to the Office of the Auditor General State Multipurpose Cooperative Society Limited by Idmo Nota Quarters, Umudiagbo, Achale Ibuzo, in Oshimili North local government area. The House did not adopt the committee's report, seeking that it redrafts its report. Before adjourning plenary, the Speaker, the Right Honorable Gwor, had wished Deltans a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year in advance. Favor Okafor reporting.
The First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, has given support to the welfare of 250 elderly citizens in the state with 200,000 naira each. Senator Tinubu said the program, designed to alleviate suffering of elderly citizens aged 65 and above, was being carried out across the 36 states of the Federation, being the second edition of the Elderly Support Initiative. Florence Oyibodoro has details.
The Renew Hope Initiative and social investment support of the wife of the president, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, is at it again. This time around, she's putting smiles on the faces of elderly across the 36 states of the Federation. And Delta State is not left out. Citizens from the state's 25 local government areas converged on Government House at Sabah to benefit from the Renewed Hope Initiative social investment support program of the president's wife. Addressing the beneficiaries, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, represented by the wife of the state governor and founder Humanity Charity Foundation, Deaconess Tobore Oborewori, said the governing board of the Renewed Hope Initiative increased the grants from 100,000 naira to 200,000 naira this year to ameliorate the suffering of the elderly this festive season. She commended state governors' wives and partners for their efforts in making the gesture a reality.
A total of 1,900,000,000 naira will be disbursed across the nation today. Initiative coordinators in 36 states of the Federation, the FCT and the POA, have received 50 million naira each, of which 200,000 naira will be distributed today to each beneficiary. Each way, stay hydrated, do little exercise, just like the doctor has said, like walking and getting adequate rest.
The wife of the state governor, Deaconess Tobore Oborewori, represented by the wife of the state deputy governor, Lady Catherine Oyemi, commended the president's wife for her kind-heartedness, saying the theme of the program, total wellness, happy, healthy, and prosperous lifestyle, was apt considering the present state of the nation's economy.
For many, life has not been easy due to the economic situation in our country. You will agree with me that life has been very challenging for many, but we thank God for His mercy. He will not forsake us at this time. We will be victorious.
As usual, Governor Sheriff Oborewori gave support to the First Lady's initiative with 250 bags of 50 kilograms bags of rice. The program featured a health talk, medical checkup, treatment, as well as dispensation of drugs and the distribution of bags of rice to the beneficiaries. Some of the beneficiaries expressed satisfaction with the gesture and prayed God to bless the country.
It's a great privilege to be here to benefit from this program. It's something we have to be proud of our governments and the leaders of today. We appreciate them so much.
I really appreciate this opportunity. I appreciate the wife of the president, Senator Remi Tinubu, and I also appreciate Deaconess Oborewori.
For recognizing the elderly is not easy. So I have to thank them very much for giving me the opportunity.
Through this initiative, many families have been uplifted. Florence Oyibodoro reporting.
The Delta States Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency, DEMSMADER, has commenced registration of businesses operating in the state in order to create a database to enhance government's economic development strategy under the Governor Sheriff Oborewori's More agenda. A statement signed by the State Director of Public Communication and functioning Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Information, Mrs. Teresa Oliko, says micro, small and medium enterprises will be registered to enable them access benefits from the more development agenda of the state government. The benefits include grants, loans, capacity building, business development, technology and infrastructure support. Others are consultancy services, business advisory services and other business support programs. The statements advised business owners to visit http://demsmeda.deltastate.gov.ng to register online or the Demsmeda office, 2nd floor, Olorogun Felix Ibru Secretariat Annex, Miriam Babangida Way, Asaba, for physical registration. The Edo State House of Assembly has suspended all 18 elected local government chairmen in the state for alleged insubordination and gross misconduct. The House directed leaders of the legislature in the 18 local governments to oversee the running of the councils for the next 2 months. The House suspended the council executives at plenary following a petition by Governor Mande Okpeblo. In the petition, the governor described the action of the local government chairman as insubordination and gross misconduct and requested the House to look into the matter. Governor Okpeblo had on December 3 given the local government chairman 48 hours to submit statements of accounts of their respective councils to the Assets Verification Committee. The federal government has approved 30 billion naira for the nation's 30 universities of agriculture to immediately commence mechanized farming. The announcement came with a directive for specialized universities to focus strictly on their core mandates and cease offering programs unrelated to their original purpose. The Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Lausa, disclosed this today in Abuja while declaring open a retreat organized by the Ministry of Education for pro-chancellors of federal universities. Dr. Lausa emphasized the importance of universities of agriculture owning and operating mechanized farming systems. He revealed that each university would receive 1 billion naira as a take-off grant for the initiative. The Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, has sealed 8 petroleum retail outlets in Warri and environs. The coordinator, the NMDPRA in the state, Mr. Victor Uhudiesa, disclosed this to journalists in Warri. Mr. Uhudiesa said the retail outlets were shut down over offenses bordering on under-dispensing, operating without valid licenses, poor safety culture, and poor housekeeping. He said that the airing petrol stations were located at Efiekporo, Ogoton, Ubeji, Efurun Sapele Road, and Onwia community in Udu local government area. The coordinator said the routine surveillance exercise was part of the regulatory authority's core mandates of ensuring motorists and other petroleum products users got the right quality and quantity for their money. Mr. Uhudiesa said that the agency had realized that operators of the retail outlets adjust their meters during weekends and declared that the authority would continue to go after them. He said it was ungodly for petroleum marketers to shortchange customers while appealing to the public to always avail the NMDPRA Warri of information whenever they notice sharp practices by the petroleum marketers. The Police Service Commission, PSC, has approved the promotion of 27 senior police officers comprising 11 commissioners of police to the next rank of Assistant Inspectors General of Police, AIG, and 16 deputy commissioners of police to the substantive rank of commissioners of police. According to PSC spokesman Mr. Ikechukwu Ani, the Commission's chairman, Mr. Hashimu Agungu, said both written and oral examinations will henceforth be a prerequisite for promotion in all the cadres of the Nigerian Police Force. The newly promoted officers are now in the corporate headquarters of the Commission for their written and oral examinations. Mr. Agungu enjoined officers of the Nigerian Police Force to improve and expose themselves to global best practices, which should include proficiency in technology. Meanwhile, Deputy Inspector General DIG Taiwo Lakano said police officers must give their best in their service, adding that the Commission would continue to ensure that their promotions were timely and based on merits. President Bola Tinubu has appointed Hajia Aisha Gabar as the new Executive Secretary of the Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC. This was disclosed in a statement issued by Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Mr. Bayo Onanuga. Hajia Gabar, a senior education specialist at the World Bank, brings over 24 years of experience in advancing educational initiatives across Nigeria, Ghana, Somalia, Kenya, the United States, and the United Kingdom. The statement said President Tinubu expects Hajia Gabar to lead UBEC in delivering the government's vision of providing quality education for Nigerian children and enhancing their competitiveness on the global stage. And still to come on the Delta Television main news at 8, U.S. President-elect meets the CEO TikTok over plans to ban the social media in the U.S. Details of this and more shortly. Stay with us.
Bro, I did tell you, this match 3-0. Okay. If I win you, something will come out.
Don't play with me. Fast ball. Ah. You know what? You go something.
Bro.
Now we got this match.
Keep the banter going with Glow Borrow Me Credit or Data. Dial star 303 hash to borrow airtime or data and pay later.
Is it ready?
Power your relentless ambition with ultra-high speed data. Glow Unlimited.
Thank you for staying on. You are watching the Delta Television main news at 8. And from the foreign scene here, U.S. President-elect Donald Trump is meeting the CEO of TikTok as the social media giant fights plans to have it banned in the U.S. Trump was due to meet Shouzi Chew at his Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida on Monday. A law passed earlier this year means TikTok will be banned unless it is sold by its Chinese parent company, ByteDance, before 19 January. The company has made an emergency application to the U.S. Supreme Court to have the ban delayed. The U.S. wants TikTok sold or banned because of alleged links between ByteDance and the Chinese state, links that both TikTok and ByteDance have always denied. The bill introducing the law said it was intended to protect the national security of the United States from the threats posed by foreign adversary-controlled applications. And still on the foreign scene, high-ranking general in the Russian armed forces and his assistant have been killed in an explosion in Moscow. Russia's investigative committee said the head of the Nuclear, Biological, Chemical Defense Forces, Lieutenant General Igor Kirillov, was leaving a residential block early today when a device hidden in a squat exploded. Russian security sources told newsmen that the device was detonated remotely. Ukraine's security service yesterday charged General Kirillov in absentia, saying on Telegram that he was responsible for the mass use of banned chemical weapons. Pictures from the scene showed entrance to a building was badly damaged, with scorch marks on the walls and a number of windows blown out. 2 body bags could also be seen on the streets. In October, the UK placed sanctions on Kirillov, saying he had overseen the use of chemical weapons in Ukraine and acted as a significant mouthpiece for Kremlin disinformation. North Korean troops have been killed fighting Ukrainian forces in Russia's Kursk border region. This will be the first reported casualties since it emerged in October that North Korea had sent around 10,000 troops to reinforce Russia's war efforts. Ukraine's military intelligence agency, the GUR, said at least 30 North Korean troops had been killed or wounded in fighting over the weekend. The North Korean troops' combat experience are believed to have spent their first weeks after being sent to Russia in training and then in support roles. On Saturday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Russia had begun to use a significant number in its assaults in Kursk, part of which Ukraine has occupied since launching a surprise incursion in August. A student opened fire at a private Christian school in the U.S. state of Wisconsin, injuring 6 people and killing a teacher and teenage student. Madison Police Chief Sean Burns identified the attacker last night as a 15-year-old female student at the school. Authorities say the attacker was in attendance at Abundant Life Christian School before opening fire and was found dead at the scene. 6 students were injured, including 2 who suffered life-threatening injuries. A second-grade student, about 7 or 8 years old, was the first to call in the active shooter reporter, according to Mr. Burns. And let's now join our business news desk for more happenings in the business sector.
There are indications that food inflation will exceed the 40% mark this month as November inflation shows a further rise in consumer prices. Economic experts have cited structural constraints on food production in the northern part of the country, as well as the festive season demand pressures and increased transportation activities as main drivers of current inflationary pressure. The National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, in its Consumer Price Index (CPI) report for November 2024 released yesterday said food inflation rose by 0.77 basis points to 39.93% from 39.16% in October 2024 due to an increase in the prices of yam, water yam, cocoa yam, guinea corn, maize grains, rice, amongst others. Also, the report said headline inflation rose by 0.72 percentage points to 34.6% in November from 33.88% in October. In another development, the World Bank is set to decide on 3 major loan projects for Nigeria in 2025, totaling $1.65 billion as part of efforts to address critical developmental challenges in the country. The loans currently in the pipeline will focus on internally displaced persons, education, and nutrition enhancements. According to information obtained from the World Bank's website, the loans are designed to support Nigeria's social and economic recovery, particularly in vulnerable sectors requiring urgent intervention. The first project, titled Solutions for Internally Displaced and Host Communities Project, has a commitment amount of $300 million and is scheduled for approval on April 8, 2025.
And on sports, Super Eagles forward Ademola Lookman was crowned African Player of the Year, while the Ademola Lookman was crowned African Player of the Year, while the Super Falcons retained their Women's National Team of the Year award, and goalkeeper Chiamaka Nadozie successfully defended her Goalkeeper of the Year title at the 2024 CAF Awards in Marrakech, Morocco yesterday. Lookman's triumph made him the 7th Nigerian to win the prestigious award and maintains Nigeria's impressive record in the category following Victor Osimhen's victory last year. The Atalanta striker's remarkable year included 3 goals and 2 assists as Nigeria reached their 8th Africa Cup of Nations final in February, while his hat trick secured the UEFA Europa Cup for Atalanta against Bayer Leverkusen in May. The 26-year-old has continued his fine form this season, scoring 11 goals and providing 5 assists in 18 appearances across all competitions, including a notable strike against Real Madrid in the UEFA Champions League. Chelsea winger Mykhailo Mudryk has been provisionally suspended after testing positive in a doping test. The Premier League said the FA recently contacted Mudryk regarding an adverse finding in a routine urine test. In a statement, the club fully supports the FA's testing program, adding all our players, including Mykhailo, are regularly tested. Mykhailo has, however, confirmed categorically that he has never knowingly used any banned substances. Both Mykhailo and the club will now work with the relevant authorities to establish what has caused the adverse finding. Côte d'Ivoire will now host the 2025 Africa Under-20 Cup of Nations. The competition was initially scheduled to be staged in South Africa. The Confederation of African Football, CAF, announced Côte d'Ivoire as the new host at the end of its executive committee meeting in Marrakech in Morocco. The competition will hold in March 2025. The Flying Eagles of Nigeria are among the teams that will compete at the competition. The semi-finalists at the Under-20 AFCON will advance to the 2025 FIFA Under-20 World Cup to be hosted by Chile. And that's our news. Here is our thought for the day. He who tears the garments of honor wears the mask of disgrace. The thought for today. And just before we go, here are the highlights of the news. The state government has reminded communities of the need to maintain peace, especially during the Yuletide. Special Advisor to the State Governor on Peace Building and Conflict Resolution, Chief Edwin Uzo, gave the reminder when he held separate meetings with 3 communities at his office in Asaba. And the State House of Assembly has lifted the suspension on 2 members, Honorable Chukwudi Daffy, Okwani constituency, and Honorable Oboro Prayo, Bumadi constituency. A development followed the expiration of the 14 legislative days suspension slammed on the lawmakers by the House over alleged gross misconduct. The federal government has approved 30 billion naira for the nation's 30 universities of agriculture to immediately commence mechanized farming. The announcement came with a directive for specialized universities to focus strictly on their core mandates and cease offering programs unrelated to their original purpose. And from abroad, we did report that U.S. President-elect Donald Trump is meeting the CEO of TikTok as the social media giant fights plans to have it banned in the U.S. Trump was due to meet Mar-a-Lago Estate in Florida on Monday. That's our news. Compliments of the season. Have a good night rest.
Efe, you see, maintaining peace and security in Delta State remains a priority for the Governor Sheriff Oberewori-led administration.
It's clear for everyone to see that the Governor Sheriff-led administration is focused on promoting the well-being of all Deltans. Did you know that the Delta State